Welcome to the Video Home Show podcast with me, Kieran.
And me, Hugh.
And on this show, since this is the first episode, I should probably say it's like a book club, but instead of books, it's weird 90s cartoons and things that we grew up and watched. So yeah, there's that to look forward to.
It's going to be pretty sweet.
On today's episode, we will be talking about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, a fantastic cartoon. But before that, Hugh.
Yes.
What did you do this week?
I did many things, most of which involve playing Spelunky. That's what I've been doing. I am not good at that game. It is difficult. there are a lot of. At first, I was like, "Oh, the mines. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward." And then, surprisingly, the game got harder as I went on. It was very
progression.
Yeah, no, it was not good in that sense. But I've been playing a lot of it because it is very addictive.
I was going to write that down, like, games get harder as they go on.
Yeah, because the other thing I've been doing is trying to, like, teach myself to use Unity, and that is something I need to remember, that games can't just be the same thing over and over again. Which...
Game design.
Game design 101, progression, things need to change.
I love this.
Which is pretty...
I could write a book about game design. Game design chapter 1. I feel like games get harder.
A few weeks in, I feel like I'm at that stage where, the book writing can commence now. Better start my memoirs early. Get a head start in that shit.
Clearly I'm a leader in this industry.
Based on the bug-filled monster I've created so far.
Did you watch anything or anything like that?
No, it's been pretty much just Spelunky.
Oh my god.
Spelunky and, like, Unity, followed by some more Spelunky. Oh, and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I watched loads and loads of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Well, that makes sense.
Because as we will go on to discuss, there is a lot of that show, and it's voluminous. That's in its nature.
It's like one season.
Yeah, one half season.
Oh yeah.
We're not talking like a HBO half season where all the episodes are an hour. No. We're talking a half-hour children's cartoon half season.
Speaking of HBO, I'm like recording this instead of watching the new episode of Game of Thrones.
Do you have HBO?
I don't have HBO. No one in Ireland has HBO.
Then why do you have to watch it at a particular time? I don't understand.
Kieran, piracy. Have you heard of this thing?
I mean, you're recording instead of doing that. Why can't you just watch it later?
In like an hour or so, I'm going to go onto Facebook and this is going to be like spoilers galore.
That doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, okay. I'm Hugh.
I have a confession to make here on. I don't watch Game of Thrones.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god. There's going to be one episode of this, and you're just going to be like, Kieran, I watched every episode of Game of Thrones.
No, this happened, like, when the first season was out, and then I tried to watch it, and I was like, see, this isn't actually as good as the other things I watch. And I watch, like, everything else.
Whoa, so that was, like, the ultimate insult.
I mean, like, everything.
Like, Kieran, I did watch Cadillacs and Dinosaurs this week.
Yeah, just saying. I'm just saying, I watched Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and then I watched a bit of Game of Thrones, I was like, oh, there's no Cadillacs or dinosaurs in this. And dragons just aren't like dinosaurs enough for me. It's just not the same.
What I did this week.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Segue into that.
Not that I asked you.
I finally watched Indie Game the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd never watched that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I might watch it.
You've never seen it either?
No. It's like on my watch list on Netflix.
It's really good. I was watching it with the missus, and like she's played a little bit of all the games that are in it. Like,
okay, yeah.
Braid, Fez. No, she hadn't played Fez. She's played Braid and she's played Super Meat Boy.
Oh yeah, okay.
But like, she just didn't know what was going to happen though.
Okay.
Because like, she didn't know that like Fez took a really long time to make, and she didn't know Super Meat Boy was a success or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was kind of nice to watch it with her. But it's still really fucking interesting to watch.
Like, I have Fez, right? And I was going to start playing it, but then I bought Spelunky, and I haven't been able to play it. because Spelunky is so time consuming. I have no time for anything else.
Welcome to the podcast where every fucking 10 minutes Hugh tries to reach around the conversation back to Spelunky.
We just hear the like mild drone of the music in the background. Hugh, what is that? No, I'm paying attention, Kieran. I'm paying attention. Not really.
Oh yeah, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
That's a funny joke, Kieran. Tell another one.
Tell a really long anecdote where I don't have to contribute for a while. Me and the missus are having the problem where, like, we're enjoying Netflix to the point where it's actually getting in the way of watching television because there's too many things on it.
Yeah, very true.
You know, so we watched like 10 minutes of the Pixar story.
Okay.
We watched that, and then we were eating dinner at the same time. And then we like go down, put down our dishes, like get a drink of water, whatever. We come back up, and it was like, it's really late. Wanted to watch the indie game, the movie tonight, and we're like, yeah, okay, we'll watch that. And then we watched it, and this is the end of it. It was like, it was a million times better than that Pixar documentary.
Yeah,
that's
upsetting.
We were really into the Pixar documentary while we were watching it, but then it was like, and then we just kind of looked back, and it was really cheesy and kind of very. And then something bad happens.
So it was like a Pixar movie, but in a documentary format.
And everything was going good, and then something bad happened, and then things were going good again, and then something bad happened, and then you're like, you know how it ends because this is like, oh yeah, Pixar, fucking huge company. It was like Pixar was started by 3 little guys, nam 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 nam, nam 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 nam, and Steve Jobs. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a success. I have not had a roller coaster ride.
And
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
And a little guy called Steve Jobs. I was like, oh, okay. Had a lot of Louis Theroux documentaries.
I'm not quite sure about Louis Theroux. He's kind of like mildly annoying in some situations, and like in situations where he's clearly like quite out of his comfort zone. You're kind of like, yeah, stop talking. I don't get you as a person. Why did the BBC think it was a good idea to send you this place?
That's so brilliant, though. It's just like weird, awkward white British man. Let's just send him to like the biggest jail in Miami.
Yeah, I don't understand why him in particular was picked to do all these things.
He is very good. Like I can tell, or I can kind of get the impression from like the way it's edited, though. But some of these questions, he responds very quickly. He comes up with these questions based on situations very quickly. I'd imagine that's like the main reason.
Yeah, I understand.
He also seems, I guess maybe to everyone he's interviewing, nicely inoffensive.
Yeah, that's very true. That's the kind of thing. He's very inoffensive.
He goes to places where like I'd be afraid that I wouldn't make out alive.
Yes, and he often discusses that with the people there.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to make it out of here alive. And I was like, oh, you'll be fine. You're unthreatening and British.
That's so funny, Louis. Go on.
We're the Westboro Baptist Church. His episode of that, when he went to the Phelps family, that was like the first time I ever heard of them in 2006.
Okay.
And then I found out he did a second episode where he like returns to them after like a whole bunch of them defected and stuff.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I watched that episode. That was kind of good. That was back in their like years of parodying pop music and replacing it with lyrics. You know, Westboro Baptist Church agenda lyrics.
Oh yeah.
And then for a while there, I couldn't get their version of "Stop praying, God's not listening to you anymore." Their version of "Telephone" by Lady Gaga. It's so bad. Oh my god.
They sound an awful lot like Jack Tanarak from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Fantastic! No.
In the 26th century, mankind faces an epic struggle for survival. The forces of nature have spun wildly out of control. Mighty cities have crumbled, and the dinosaurs have returned to reclaim the earth. this savage land, one man stands alone, Jack Tenreck, defending humanity in a world gone mad. A world where only the strong survive. A world of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
I can't believe you fucking segue like that, though.
Wasn't it really good?
Oh, you have Jack Tenreck. Oh my god, okay.
Quahoon, Kieran!
Quahoon! And welcome to the main section of the show, I suppose. Obviously this week we were talking about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Obviously, Kieran, obviously we're talking about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
What else could we say Quahoon to?
Because that's a reference everyone will instantly get, having never seen the show.
But if they watch it now, they'll be like, Quahoon!
That's true. We're gonna convert people to the genius that is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, an American Saturday morning animated TV series, first aired on CBS Kids. We watched it on TCC.
I imagine many years after it initially aired. I assume.
I think we got it actually pretty straightforward. I think we got it because it came out in 1993, 1994.
Yeah.
It came out in 1993 and finished in 1994. Spoilers to everyone, it lasts half a season. We're only bringing out the best of our childhoods on this show. Yeah, I have a funny feeling because I have vague memories. I don't have the crystal clear memories of the show that I do with Pokemon, which was only 3 to 4 years later. So I think we got it pretty rapidly on either TCC or the Den.
Yeah.
Might have been on the Den as well.
Okay.
TCC was the greatest channel ever. Actually, I've recently realized I did a lot of research into TCC before we started this show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was a Scandinavian and British television channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and originally shut down in 2001, but the Scandinavian TCC had a contract to air until 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So they ran the same, I think, 16 programs it was in a completely automated 4-week block.
Oh, and then it just repeated.
I just repeated it.
Oh, wow.
So the same 4 weeks over and over and over again until 2008 to fulfill the contract.
That's cool. A lot cool.
It's so weird to me.
Yeah, it's a really weird concept that there's just a room. There was a room somewhere with a computer that was just TCC, and it was the entire channel, just run from this room somewhere connected to a TV antenna.
Broadcasting every episode of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
I like in that reality where it doesn't change shows after a show. It just shows all of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs followed by all of another series.
Now marathoning Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
That's what I wanted. You know the channel AMC, the channel that made Breaking Bad, and they make The Walking Dead and Mad Men.
Yeah.
That's what that's like. They show they have a few primetime shows that they produce, and then the rest of the time they show it's American Movie Classics is the name of the TV channel, and that is what they show, just American movie classics, or what they deem to be American movie classics, so action movies of John Travolta and stuff. So they would show they'd show Broken Arrow, right, and then they show Broken Arrow again, and then show it twice the next day as well, and they do that for most of a week, and then switch to something else. So they had a Rocky marathon on for the 4th of July when I was in Canada, and they literally played the 5 Rocky movies, one after the other, for 3 days. So we'd come in and Rocky 5 would be on and be like, oh, Rocky 5 isn't the best one, I guess, but we'll watch it. And then you come back the next day and Rocky 5 was still on, because they'd gotten back to it. Get back to the facts, man. Back to the facts.
Okay, back to the facts. So here's some interesting shit for you, right? The show was by Mark Schlutz, and the screenwriter was Stephen E. DeSouza. Stephen E. DeSouza. I think I'm doing that right.
Close enough.
Who did Die Hard and 48 Hours.
Yeah, that's pretty indicative of the
screenwriter,
what the show is like. There are there are a lot of explosions, and
there's a lot of Die Hard-esque moments.
There is. That's the thing. There's a lot of Die Hard-esque moments, which I think is great.
Yeah.
in a children's cartoon.
But it's also pretty good because like Mark Schlutz is the guy who created the original comic. So it's based on a comic called Xenozoic Tales, and that came out in the 80s. So like this came out in 93, and this was definitely trying to capitalize on like Jurassic Park dinosaur fame, like the 90s dinosaur rush.
Yeah.
Of media. But like what was happening in the 80s? It was like definitely a dinosaur craze before Jurassic Park came out, and I have no idea where that came from.
Mark Schlutz was happening. That's what was happening.
Mark Schlutz?
Yeah, he was happening in the 80s. That's how I describe him. He was happening.
He wasn't born, he just appeared.
There was also the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs video game, like the arcade game, which Capcom made, which I played all of yesterday in preparation for this. Yes, I played all of it.
Oh my god, did you?
You know the way, like, when you're playing an arcade game streamed online, and it gets to you need to continue, and you just hit the insert coin button, and you're just like, geez, how much money have I spent if I was spending real money on this? I would have spent like $20 or something if it was like a quarter to play each time. I died a lot.
Oh my god!
It was one of those very difficult Capcom games where there were 4 buttons on the controller, but only 2 of the buttons did anything. You could hit and jump.
Oh, of course.
And move, and that was it.
Yeah.
But there was like rocket launchers and shit, and there was very little dinosaurs. It was. I mean, for a game called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, there was a Cadillac in it maybe like twice, and there were maybe 10 dinosaurs, and then a lot of mutants.
That's actually that's something that's like interesting though. That's kind of like something I want to talk about to the show, because the dinosaurs aren't the like main antagonists.
No, they're not. Yeah.
It's Cadillacs and bandits and corrupt politicians. The show.
And dinosaurs.
Some dinosaurs.
Are definitely there are definitely dinosaurs, but it's very much
as like
it's very much near the end of the point of the show.
I mean, but like that's like calling like House of Cards, and regular animals. Because there's definitely regular animals in the background of House of Cards.
No, but I mean like
Breaking Bad and animals.
I was thinking of this earlier, right? Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. You could use the concept and work it into a lot of current shows. So like if you had like Jesse Pinkman and dinosaurs, and you should replace Walt with a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But otherwise, the show is exactly the same.
Oh, of course. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I'm trying to think other So it started in 1993. Only had 13 episodes, which is, if I'm remembering American TV formats correctly, that is like renewal time, isn't it? It's mid-season, and they have to see whether this is going to keep going or not.
Yeah, well, like that's renewal time for like a primetime show. I'm not sure. Like a lot of animated series wouldn't, especially in the 90s. I don't think ran for full length. Like 20, you wouldn't commission a 20 episode animation series because it was so expensive.
I don't know. Like I thought the Saturday morning kind of cartoons got assessed that way. I have to look into it because like, what's a successful Saturday morning cartoon?
Oh, the X-Men cartoon was out at the same time.
Oh, okay, no, this only had 13 episodes as well. Okay, so you're right. This is a full, complete season.
Because I mean, this is back in the day of actual animation, where this would have been very expensive to make.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Per episode versus like a live action in studio thing.
One last fact. All 13 episodes still currently air on HBO Family in Latin America, and have continually done so for many years. They can be viewed in dub Spanish or in the original English. The show is also available in the US through the online retailer Amazon by direct download service. So any of you guys out in the States want to watch this show with us, that's how you do it. For everyone else, it's like free on YouTube.
Some of the episodes have significant time delay, but otherwise...
Oh god, yeah. But like you're watching the same uploader as me, obviously, where he like split the episode in two, and the first part of the episode is completely bollocks, but then the second one was fine.
Yeah.
So I just like I dealt with it.
Yeah, I just dealt with it. It's fine.
So, and we should also say that I watched every episode, and you made it up to
episode 12 out of 13. But I played the game, and
so
playing the game took me like more than the length of an episode. Because it's one of those side-scrolling Capcom games that takes ages to move at all. Like your character has a default speed, which is walk very slowly. So I mean,
did it have a paywall kind of moment, like a token guzzler?
Yeah. Like there was a boss at the end of every level, and the boss would routinely also the way he spawned was like a lot of rockets came into the scene and like exploded on the floor, so everyone took damage when you respawn. So you respawning directly made the boss easier, other than you having like extra life.
Oh, okay.
So I mean that was definitely an aspect of it, and that like you couldn't put in money and die. You like putting in money directly influenced the level straight away. Like it was a really clear way that you were influencing the level. So if you were just like, oh, I died again, but if I put in more money, I'll instantly get this much damage, and I'll be that much closer to killing the boss.
Oh my god.
It was pretty classic arcade game, like luring you in for money kind of situation.
Bringing in that coin.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
So,
You know what?
Hugh.
What about coins? Like Jack Tenorak, the protagonist of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, never needed money for some reason. Point A about the show.
Money is nowhere.
Money? Well, no, there is money. They keep mentioning money, but like they've gold and stuff. But I mean, like Jack never care about money because this show is not strictly about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Other than it being about politics, it's about politics. But it's also about it's also about environmentalism.
It's ham-fisted, like down your throat environmentalism.
You know what
like,
Greenpeace
really...
need? Greenpeace need more Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Yeah, they should definitely try to renew a season of this. Like
No, but I mean in real life. I mean if Greenpeace just drove Cadillacs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And had dinosaurs.
It's actually it's not mentioned in the series, but I found this out from the comic. I tried to find like bits of the comic and stuff. Those weird tubes on the side of his Cadillac. He's actually fitted all his vehicles to run on dinosaur feces.
That's very environmental of him.
Yeah. That was the one thing they never really explained in the show. Is like, how does this fucking environmentalist driving an American-made car, like...
Yeah. I was wondering if the tubes were.
And yeah, the tubes are apparently a part of that, like...
Because the thing is, right, watching this as a kid, I would have never picked up on, like, the environmental angle. That was, like, far too highbrow for me as, like, a 6 or 7-year-old watching the show.
And then looking back on it now, it's, like, directly talking about it.
Yeah, and you're just like, wow, I was stupid. I just like the dinosaurs and the Cadillacs and whatever.
I should probably tell them about, like, the first episode, right? The pilot.
Yeah. So, I think that's a good opening to how the show That is
a good opening. First of all, I should like say that on this show, when we're watching a series of things, depending on how long it is, we'll skip through it, but we will always watch the pilot. So if you want to watch along with us beforehand or something like that, the pilot we will always watch and probably always discuss.
Yeah.
So, okay. It opens with fucking most brilliant thing I've ever seen in a cartoon like this. It opens in 2 goddamn moons.
Yeah.
Shot of 2 goddamn moons.
Which is not mentioned again in the rest of the show.
It's never mentioned. It's always in the background.
They never bring it up. But it's they're just like, there are 2 moons now.
There's 2 moons
Things
now.
have changed. Okay.
But I was like, okay, so this is not Earth. Okay.
But it is. It is definitely Earth. Let's be clear.
It is Earth, yeah. And then, yeah, okay, so it opens with the people of Wassoon trying to get to the city on the sea, and they get ambushed by poachers. Yeah, that's what they're called. The bad guys are called poachers.
Goddamn poachers.
Where these like they're very kind of like Mad Max kind of thing going on there. And then it goes into the intro. So the intro is one of those 90s intros that just explains every goddamn thing.
Which is very handy because I mean in later episodes where they don't have that intro and they just have the music.
Yeah.
If you came in on episode 2, for instance, you would not know what the fuck was going on. It would be so confusing.
Whoa. I'm in some sort of like fucking fever dream right now. What is this?
Because that explains why there are both Cadillacs and dinosaurs together. However, without the intro,
absolutely,
there's just for no reason dinosaurs everywhere.
You say they explained that, but it's like in the 26th century, nature has gone awry, and man is an epic quest for survival. It's like, okay, so you're just gonna brush off that nature has gone awry comment? What is that? Did the neutrinos mutate again?
Oh man!
No one is gonna get that fucking reference.
That's how 2012 ends.
This is the sequel to 2012.
Yeah, 2012 just like cuts to black, and then you hear the dinosaur squealing noise.
Okay, but like in that like bit before the intro, they show They show actually the secondary character. They show Hannah Dundee. She ambushes like Jack, and it's like there's a little bit of a back and forth. And she's a sassy 90s girl that has like some feigned veil of like feminism and independence, even though she's nothing but tits.
Whoa, no, don't diss Hannah. Don't you diss Hannah.
Hannah's the
bomb.
Hannah's mostly tits.
No, Hannah has feelings.
What feelings does Hannah have? Does she have the motherly sense of knowing what is right, the maternal sense of knowing what is right, or the can-do attitude of an independent woman? All like horrible 90s stereotypes that tried to mend the bridge, but actually got further from what real women were like.
She's a scientist, Kieran. A scientist. and a diplomat, as she says a lot in the show. She continuously mentions again, I'm a scientist, or I'm a diplomat, much the way like Jack goes, I'm a mechanic, and then he has to re-explain what he means by mechanic as opposed to like actual mechanic.
Well, that's the whole thing, because like in the future everything's fucking backwards and like everyone's illiterate. So like
I was gonna bring up the illiteracy thing.
Oh yeah, bring up the illiteracy thing.
So like, okay, so the main, like, he's not really the main antagonist. Like the main antagonist is the governor of the city, and then like the other antagonist is Hammer, who's the.
I want to talk about her. Like,
we'll get back to her. She's very important. We'll get back to her and the whole city thing. That is a lot of problems. But so Hammer, who's like. He's the kind of like comic villain who's just like, Jack is doing something, and then suddenly it cuts to Hammer in the distance looking at him in binoculars. This happens in most episodes, where he's just like, oh Jack, what are you up to? I better follow you and do something nefarious.
Oh.
Anyway.
And he just turns to his two other brothers and is like, that Jack always rubs me the wrong way.
And then his brother's just like, let's get out of here. They have some stupid catchphrases as well. But like,
they do. They're just shaggy.
To point out how everyone's illiterate, the plot device they use for that is, every time Hammer sees something that needs to be read, he turns to his two, like, goons, and is just like, read that, and then they can't. But he does it, like, around once an episode. He's just like, hey, you guys, read that, and they can't. And he never learns.
But no, they can't. They can. Well, first of all, one of them can. It's the same. They're like twin brothers, but it's the same one all the time.
Yeah.
Like, Hammer is the poacher guy who does some underhanded deals with one of the politicians. But he is the oldest of three brothers who are in the poacher gang, and the two others are twin brothers. They're basically, someone walked into a boardroom for the show, was like, okay guys, we need a character that's just shaggy, but it's two characters. And that's what the twin brothers are. One of them can read. He does like, a 7-year-old good job of reading, where he's like, computer. It says computer. Like, he knows words. He's just like, he gets there eventually. He's still stupid as shit, but whatever. But yeah, that does happen quite a bit.
It happens.
In fairness, though,
it happens in the same way that Hammer always asks them to read something, and they're always like, "Oh, this is gonna be we're gonna struggle through this, guys. Just bear with us while we point out how illiterate we are." Like,
really at this point, like, Hammer should have at this point realized reading is probably a valuable skill, because it seems to be on a weekly basis he needs it to accomplish. Although I admit, his failed plans to stop Jack Tenarak, he does need it on a regular basis.
He does.
Like, what? Like, he could cut out the middleman. Like, what else is that other guy doing?
Yeah.
But
back to the pilot. So Hannah's escaped from their ambush, and then she thinks Jack is one of the ambushers and ambushes him, and that's how they meet.
She after spotting the city on the sea.
Yes.
Which they explain pretty directly after she spots it, that it's New York.
Which is never mentioned again. As is a theme in the pilot, where they mention something and it is never brought up again.
What do you mean, like the Machinata Vitae?
No, that's brought up again. They bring that up like 5 episodes later.
5 episodes later, out of 13 is like, oh my, there was so much fucking lore in the first episode.
So much.
It was just like, I am Jack, the mechanic. We mechanics are a simple breed, or basically Native Americans, but we didn't want Native Americans in. Can't decide if that's racist, that they didn't go with the Native American stereotype and replaced it with a white person, Or was it good that they just avoided the Native American nature-loving stereotype? I'm not sure which
I
is
think
like,
that
the
would have
better-
been
which is
worse.
the
I think it
better.
would have been worse if they made Jack like a really stereotypical Native American person.
Okay, but he was fairly tanned. I'm sure like 2 seasons... like
He was
if they had
tanned.
Another season later, they would have been like, oh, he's actually half Native American or something.
Yeah, but that would have been fine. But if they made him like a ridiculous stereotype, as what, like they would have just added loads of layers onto that, which would have been worse.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
would've been-
I think that would
That
have
would
been
be
much
worse.
worse.
But like back to like the lore of the first episode, where they're just like,
There's, yeah,
oh,
okay,
we
so,
must protect
okay, so,
the Machinata
like,
Vitae.
Yeah, so like we apologize for our bad explaining of the first episode, but it's because they throw so much shit at you at once that it's just like it's okay. So like so far we have Hannah. So we've introduced 2 or 3 characters. That's fine. Hannah's from somewhere called Wassoon, which they explain in quite a lot of detail. And then she sees the city on the sea, which is New York, but it's not New York. And then there's Jack, who is to explain who he is, and he talks for a while.
Not to mention the fact that Jack is a part of a sacred order of the mechanics.
Yeah.
And they protect the Machinata Vitae. Did they introduce the grift in the first episode? I'm trying to remember.
No, but they explain the Machinata Vitae by Hannah going, in Wassoon, we call that like the balance of nature or something much
It was
more
the circle of life.
Circle of life, yeah.
It was the circle of life.
It's like that would be much
Sorry.
easier than saying like coming up with a really complicated word.
Some guy just... That was literally pig Latin, like. Like, Vitae kind of sounds like the Latin for life. It's Jewish. So much lore in the first episode.
So much more.
And the Wassoon thing was kind of interesting as well. They never explain where Wassoon is. Yeah, in that shot where they establish that the city on the sea is New York. Or it's Manhattan Island, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
It's not just all of New York. It's just
No, it's Manhattan. Yeah, it's Manhattan Island. Yeah.
Because she's looking out from the coast onto it. You can see from the coast. She sees it through her binoculars. And there's like a little shot where she's like, I wonder if all the old information is kept here, she says to herself. And then she sees a sign. There's obviously New York Library. The B and onwards has been cut out. And I was just like, oh, that would have been such a great joke. So I was like waiting for her to say it. Just go, New York Lie. I was like, come on, say it. But it was like,
Say it.
New York Library. I was like, fucking more than half that word is not there.
So they established that's New York, right? But then New
Yeah.
York is next to the desert and the jungle. Every other possible
Everything apart from tundra and taiga.
there's no snow of any sort. But there's a lot of jungle.
It's the dinosaur age.
But there are mammoths.
There's a lot of like
There's woolly mammoths.
There's a lot of like 90s understandings of the prehistoric world in this. Like
that's
super fucking scaly dinosaurs, like grotesquely scaly dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Combined with them being severely larger than they were. Then there's just mammoths there for no other reason. It was also like there was raptors, there was T-Rexes, there was Triceratopses, Stegosauruses, Brachiosaurus.
However,
which
they
is-
have different names for all of the dinosaurs than the regular names.
Yes.
They have like
I actually-
colloquialisms, which you have to learn to understand the show.
Again, adding to the lore.
Yes.
Like, what were Shivets? Shivets are T-Rexes, and the plot of the first episode is that there's a Shivet like going rampant in a town that's just outside the city of the sea, like on the coast.
Yeah.
The townspeople were just like, Jack, you told us it would be safe. And it was like, I don't understand. The Shivets never come down from the hills kind of thing. They never would bother us. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of cool. I understand, like, you're getting an understanding of, like, his role in society. He's, like, the traveling guy who helps people and warns people and shit.
Yeah.
But then, like...
In a Cadillac.
In a Cadillac that runs on dinosaur shit. But, like... Yeah, the Shivet, that just adds to the, like, fucking lore and encyclopedia you have to learn in this first episode.
Which, like, I
second
quite
episode.
appreciated that. However,
Yeah.
again, it is not something I picked up on watching this as its target audience at all.
As a kid.
Yeah. But even
I
if
think
you
this
kind
was-
you kind of say like I was below the age of the target audience, it was still like a Saturday morning thing. So I mean, like the target
Yeah.
audience is relatively low. I think there's a lot going on.
Your target audience was probably like 7 to 10 realistically, but I think they wanted something more like the ages of 11 to 15.
Yeah.
They wanted X-Men's audience.
But did X-Men have that audience?
Like-
I don't know.
Yeah, X-Men had that audience because of like the comic fan base and the fact that it actually dealt with some like pretty adult themes. It also got the 7 to 10s
Yeah.
like at the same time.
Because I watched X-Men.
But, like,
I don't know if we got it like at the same time as the US, but I remember watching X-Men and being like, there's a lot of time traveling in this show. I'm confused.
I have to like say that I actually do appreciate the fact that they gave the dinosaurs new names.
Yeah.
Because like 600 years, the fact that dinosaurs realistically like have very scientific kind of names in comparison to what the things we call. There's no dinosaur called like a bluebird kind of thing. Bluebird is just like, oh, it's a bird and it's blue.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like when you're immersed in it, you probably would have given it like an easier name, especially when your population's illiterate.
Yes.
Like,
oh, I forgot about that. Cadillacs and literacy.
so yeah, Jack established he has a pet cutter, and a cutter is an Allosaurus.
Okay, whose name is Hermes.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that.
Okay.
His name is Hermes.
His name is Hermes.
His name is Hermes, the large dinosaur.
Hermes the Allosaurus.
Yes. Okay.
And also, I think we actually have a confirmed spelling of Wahoon.
We have a confirmed what?
Yeah, I have it on the Wikipedia article because I remember this. They called, in like a later episode, they called Stegosauruses Wahoon chucks.
Okay, yeah, okay. They have like one thing they use for every generic like mark of surprise or in place of anywhere you'd have a swear word or anything, and it's Wahoon.
Yeah.
And they say it
Wahoon!
They say it all the time. But they say it like Wahoon or Quahoon or Wahoon. Like they emphasize differently. I assume for some reason. I don't know.
I'm assuming some actors were taking their voice acting roles from the script a little more seriously.
Yes.
Because the ones you're talking about where they go like Quahoon and Huahoon, I think they're putting like a more exotic twist on it.
Yeah,
because
but
the spelling I have here is Wahon, which is Wahan.
What I wrote down when I was trying to be like, what are they saying? I was trying to like sound it out of my head. I wrote Quahoon. Quahoon.
Quahoon! When I was watching the first episode, I was at home and Mrs. had gone to work. So I had her laptop playing the episodes while I was like doing some work on my actual laptop. But I was like kind of like half paying attention.
Wait, Kieran, pause for a second. Are you saying that you weren't fully committed to watching Cadillacs and Dinosaurs in full with your full attention?
No, hang on. Let me finish.
Your life didn't go on pause to watch Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
To marathon every episode. No, hang on. Immediately, all attention was grabbed when the first instance of the word Wahoon appears. It's just like, whoa, okay. Lore is happening. This world is becoming rich and deep. Oh, extended universe.
I feel so immersed by the lore.
Yeah, it's like there's an extended universe website of this somewhere, I'm sure.
There's a role playing game.
There's a what?
There's a role playing game
There's a role playing game
in the universe. Yeah,
like, I mean tabletop or
yeah, it's in tabletop. Not like a well-developed graphical role-playing game that we just haven't heard of.
Yeah, okay, I will admit, the world is kind of cool, and then when I was like, when you see actual shots of the city and the sea later in the series, which becomes a problem because, like, in the first episode, yeah, it looks like Manhattan Island. In the next few episodes, when you see the city and the sea and, like, the interior of it, it's just like Istanbul had a baby with Rome. Kind of thing, kind of architecture.
Yeah.
There's a lot of arches, the interiors are very pretty.
They also tunnel underground a lot to find artifacts, and they just find like normal New York buildings underground. Or that episode where they go underground and they find the subway.
Yeah, so it's kind of unusual. We don't really know what happened to New York, and they never explain it. Nor did they ever mention it's New York ever again, as you said earlier.
The theme of the pilot is, and they never mentioned it again.
So Jack promises to the village that gets destroyed by the Shivit, aka a T-Rex, that he will take care of the T-Rex if it comes back. Like, thinking that he wouldn't have to do it because he's against killing animals, apparently. But then it does come back, and he's like, oh, I've got to do what I got to do. So you get this understanding of, like, where his line is, how he's, like, willing to help people in the end of things. He's a good person because, you know, it was 90s environmentalism, which still meant humans were more important than the environment. So yeah, he goes along and he finds the world's most obvious fucking mind control device on the back of the T-Rex. The thing's like the size of a ghetto box. And has a blinking red light on it. And it also beeps.
If they didn't put the red light there, he wouldn't have seen it. It would have been fine.
No, he is like, there was like a good shot of him just looking at the dinosaur through a sniper scope and just being like, as the dinosaur's thrashing around with the thing on its neck. And he's just like, time to put this dinosaur down. Then he looks through, like, properly through the fucking scope. And he's like, wait, what's that? It's like, time to get in for a closer look.
Yeah.
So he gets along and he takes it off. The scientist lady, Hannah Dundee, Masoon, and they're obviously going to bang as well.
She doesn't need a man, Kieran. She's a strong, independent woman of the 90s. You can't be saying your things like that all the time without understanding the context.
I have it on a Wikipedia article, like right here.
She's going to.
A foreign ambassador.
They're going to bang. It's on the Wikipedia article.
Okay. Anyway, she's like, she was the one who made the very right conclusion that, hey, these poacher guys who are supposedly operating the T-Rex and its mind control device as well, they're fucking thick as shit and illiterate. They couldn't have possibly made this technology. So Jack, figures out that it's Senator Korvac. Am I saying that right? No. Governor Scharnhorst.
Korvac?
Where am I getting Korvac from?
You're getting Korvac from Muzzy.
Korvac was in something.
Korvac
is totally a name in this.
Korvac is the villain in Muzzy.
No, it's not, is it?
It is. I'm being completely serious. Korvac is the villain in Muzzy.
No. Okay, well, never mind that then. Governor Scharnhorst.
They're not even similar.
We're gonna brush past that little embarrassing moment for Kieran.
I don't think we are.
I know. My fucking my Cadillacs and Dinosaurs cred. Moving on. Governor Scharnhorst. I kind of like her introduction.
Yeah.
Because they show her making the underhanded deal first with Hammer. Then they the next time you see her, it's when Hannah and Jack are discussing radio. When they're in the car, it's like, what's that? And the Cadillac, and it's like, oh, it's a radio. You guys are working radio out here? And they turn it on. I was like, oh yeah, we only have one channel, and I don't think you're gonna like it. It's really heavy-handedly
Governor Scharnhorst propaganda.
Yeah, it's literally Scharnhorst giving a hate speech.
Yeah.
Not usually what political dictators do against a race or an ethnicity or an age group or religion. No, it's against one guy.
She's just like, Jack Tenorach is a purge. He's going to purge our society of all its morals.
Oh my god.
Capitalism is the way of the future. It's so good.
It's so brilliant. I guess her hate speech is against the mechanics, except there's only one left now, so it's just kind of awkward.
Yeah, there's one left until later episodes.
So yeah, Scharnhorst, and then she's approached by Jack with the recorder, the mind control device, sorry, and just be like, I knew you were responsible for this, and I've got the evidence to prove it. And like a fucking tool, he puts it on the table in front of her, and she just picks it up and crushes it, and just goes, what evidence? And I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done if I was Scharnhorst.
Thank you for handing me the incriminating evidence against me. I'll just put this in this drawer where you can't get to it.
Thanks for approaching me angrily in a room full of guards who are obviously very loyal to me.
See, this is the thing about Jack, right? Jack respects his environment, and part of his environment is the quite clearly corrupt governor, which represents capitalism. He can just deal with her shit and make sure it doesn't affect everyone else's shit. But he's not going to take her down. He wants to leave her where she is, because she represents part of his ecosystem.
Okay.
Layers, Kieran. Layers.
Peel back the onion.
There, I dropped an onion truth bomb on you. You just sit there with that.
You dropped an onion bomb?
I did. Okay. I did, an onion bomb.
You sit there.
Yeah, you'll be all like, Quahoon, I've been quashed.
I've been quahooned. It's the new version of Lampoon.
Quahooned you. That's what I did. I quahooned the shit out of you.
That's the first episode, really. You get introduced to Mustafa Cairo.
Yeah.
Who's never really explained other than token ethnicity.
The one thing about Mustafa, right? You know the intro that we played at the start of this segment, which is one man stands alone. Who the fuck is Mustafa then? He is quite clearly,
a fair point.
Quite clearly Jack's unending ally, who just is one man stands alone with Mustafa.
With Mustafa, and also his dinosaur.
Yeah.
The fucking sexy ambassador / scientist who's obviously helping him. And Kurgo, which also helps him. That guy, the ferryman.
Yeah, the ferryman. Yeah,
Kurgo.
Yeah.
These were the weirder names we were talking about earlier, Mustafa and Kurgo. Unless Mustafa is the actual name and I'm just being really fucking offensive.
I know someone called Mustafa. Yeah, Mustafa's a real name.
All my best friends are called Mustafa.
All of them. No, I genuinely know someone called, like, whose actual name is Mustafa. Like, it's not that weird a name.
Shout out to Hugh's friend, Mustafa.
I don't know him that well.
If you watch Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, man, it's pretty good.
You'd like it. Someone has your name.
We should rename this show Mustafa and Mustafa instead of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Or just Quahoon, it's Mustafa. Like Quahoon, exclamation mark, it's Mustafa.
Of course there's an exclamation mark. Yeah, okay. I'm down for this rebranding. We can repitch it. And that way we don't need the approval of General Motors anymore. They had to give approval for the title.
Yeah, this thing that originally, before I rewatched the show, I rewatched it like a bit of it quite a while ago. Before I rewatched it, I was like, "Oh, this is clearly just General Motors like put money towards this or something. That's the reason it's Cadillacs, and it's not just some other car." Yeah. I was like, "Oh, but Cadillacs were in the original comic." I was like, "All right, okay. How did they get the usage for the word Cadillac?" And they just like General Motors seem to be letting them use it. I'm not sure they were charged a lot of money for it.
I don't think they were. I think that's just like, that is a definite bygone era.
Because the thing is,
being, like, people, like companies being cool with that shit. There's a couple of other things that like I just want to mention about the first episode, which is brilliant. As people are traveling from Wassoon to try and make it to the City of the Sea, as like they're just like, "Oh, we've heard there are people out here who survived in the bomb shelters of the early 21st century," and can you imagine, like, just being a kid and just be like, "That's 7 years from now! Oh my god!
That's very soon."
We're all fucked!
No, I think, because I remember playing, like, a lot of, like, war games and stuff, and the kind of feeling you come away from them was, God, I wish there was a war on, so I could go, like, do the shit in the game.
That's totally, like, but, like, in the early 90s, that was just the Cold War is over, and now we don't know what to teach our kids if there's no war happening.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, but even now, I mean, like, kids playing, like Call of Duty and that, like, it is kind of, in a way, desensitizing kids to the possibility they might have to be in the army. So desensitize kids to the possibility they might have to be in the post-apocalyptic dinosaur world.
Look, we didn't know what Russia had up their sleeves in the 80s. We just didn't. They could have done anything.
They might have been, like, experimenting with dinosaurs and went wrong a bit, and there were some dinosaurs, and then they just multiplied, and there was dinosaurs everywhere. Whoops.
Just basically, if whoops.
Soz guys.
If you ever played the game, the PlayStation 3 game Resistance, just that instead of aliens, though, there's just dinosaurs. That's the Cold War horror scenario.
Again, as I mentioned in my Breaking Bad scenario, you could pretty much add dinosaurs into any genre or specific thing, and it works better.
Yeah, that was the 90s, though.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like this, okay, that was the 90s. That was like post-apocalyptic world. And then dinosaurs. And then there was like, even before that, family-friendly sitcom, why not make them all dinosaurs and fucking call it Dinosaur?
Oh, yeah.
Not the mama.
Sure, and Dino Babies. Don't forget Dino Babies.
Oh, Dino Babies. Let's just take Muppet Babies, but instead of Muppets, they're dinosaurs.
Everyone loves dinosaurs.
I really wish they were all the notable dinosaurs from Jurassic Park in baby form, and they all talked and hang out.
Oh, look, it's Velociraptor number 3.
It's the Velociraptor that kills the poacher, and Velociraptor who distracts the poacher.
Oh, it's
the T-Rex who eats the goat.
Her name is Clever Girl. That's her name.
And sick Triceratops.
Don't forget about Velociraptor who can open doors.
And then, of course, because there's always like an older character.
Yeah.
There's always like the babysitter character trope.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it's the girl who can hack, who's inexplicably older than the dinosaurs. Like she's still the same age from the movie.
Yes. Why would she age? That would be ridiculous.
What do we want to say about the rest of this show after the pilot?
So, I mean, like, the show deals with some pretty extreme themes later on. I mean, so you have episode 3. I can't remember the real episode names, but, like, episode 3 was about a death ray, where they find, like, the controls for a satellite death ray.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then there's episode...
That's the...
Yeah.
That's, like, the grift-heavy episode, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Oh, we haven't mentioned the grift! Oh, man.
Yeah, sorry, it is...
So it's not, like, we haven't mentioned this, but it's not really in the pilot, and it's not in every episode at all. But there are super intelligent, nature-controlling lizard people in the show as well.
Psychic nature-controlling lizard people.
Psychic nature-controlling lizard people who also can teleport, apparently, because they can just be like, there's fog now, so we're here. Or the fog is gone, so we've disappeared.
We're not here anymore.
No longer here. The fog is gone. And they're lizards.
All, of course, explained by nature has gone wild.
Or, as Jurassic Park would call it, nature has found a way. And by find a way, I mean developed super intelligent lizard people to control nature.
Why didn't Jurassic Park do that?
Well, like, I mean, what was Jeff Goldblum,
Jurassic
really?
Park 3 kind of did that. Jurassic Park 3 does a little bit of that.
It does a bit. Not to the same extent as Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What else was there? Oh, the brilliant thing that I really loved towards the end of the series, and you would have seen some episodes of this, but there was also a bit of it in the 13th episode.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to mention the only episode I haven't seen?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
The person from Wassoon, i.e. a Wassoon, like that, this is the...
Yeah.
They start making more stereotypes based on that.
Okay.
Like, they start, like, doing some, like, kind of weird nationalistic tension between them. We're like, in the fishing episode, she's like, we'll show you how real Wassoons fish. And like, there's been 6 straight episodes where you hadn't mentioned your nationality. You were just someone who was here.
Yeah.
And then Jack's like, I thought all you Wassoons were really good at fishing. And then there's an episode where they have to sleep in a tree overnight. I thought all you Wassoons loved sleeping in trees.
Yeah.
And I was like, none of these stereotypes are strongly conflicting with one another.
I'm glad.
Even in the backwards world of racism.
I'm glad, racial prejudice remained. I'm glad about that.
600 years on, still having.
If I could pick one thing to persist over 600 years,
survive the
I would
apocalypse.
hope the racial prejudice based on living location and nothing else exist. I love that. That's the best.
So in the last episode,
Yeah.
Hannah keeps pitching the idea of mutual cooperation, and Jack keeps dismissing it as, oh, another crazy Wassoon idea. I was like, this is like the first idea she's ever suggested, and you've ever called it Wassoon in any way. But like, that was basically the entire episode, except there was some like nitrous oxide or whatever.
Also, in I think it's the first episode, Hannah mentions where she's from. And Jack or someone else's response is, there are still survivors out in Wassoon, which implies that they didn't know there were other people from there.
I remember that.
So the stereotypes they're laying on Hannah are just like completely arbitrary insults they've decided about her.
It's like us having like stereotypes based around the Huns, because they don't exist anymore. So it's just like, oh, those Huns sure did love peanut butter. What?
Always eating the peanut butter.
Every time I mention the Huns, though, it just reminds me of Mulan, because it was just like,
oh, Mulan.
Because Pocahontas came before Mulan. Pocahontas and Aladdin came before Mulan, and they were just like, okay, we've probably been pushing with the stereotypes a bit much. This is like, who do we make the villain then? What's an extinct race?
Yeah, who can't we insult? The Huns. No one's gonna be like, I'm a Hun. I'm currently a Hun.
And then we have to watch Mulan and then like drink every time they mention honor, because you don't realize how fucking bad and racially insensitive that show is until you see how many times they mention honor.
Was there a TV show of Mulan?
So
or are you talking about the movie?
Oh, the movie. I'm talking about the movie. There was probably a TV show of Mulan.
Yeah, there was a Disney TV show for everything. You know what we should watch at some point? This is completely off the point. The Hercules Aladdin crossover episode.
What?
Yeah, do you remember?
What?
Do you remember there was an Aladdin TV show, but there was also a Hercules growing up TV show. There's a crossover episode.
There was a Hercules. Okay, it wasn't a Hercules growing up TV show. It was Hercules non-canon TV show where it was based in between his childhood and his adulthood.
Yeah.
Even though he makes the full transition in the movie.
Yeah.
And
but ignore that.
Nights.
Yeah, but in between he meets Aladdin.
Okay.
Obviously.
Oh my god.
Stop asking ridiculous questions, Kieran.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, there's some pretty notable, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. There are some pretty notable episodes. I mean, there's episode 3, Death Ray, which I thought was a joke name I was giving to it. Apparently that's the actual name of the episode. I've just checked.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
It's called Death Ray.
Yeah.
There's episode 4, Lady Troubles, where there's an enemy lady infiltrates the Jack Siraj, and Hannah's all like, oh, I don't like her, and Jack's all like, why not, Hannah? Jealous? So that happens for a while.
Of course.
That's the majority
That's
of the
how
episode.
you react. That's how you deal with every will they, won't they relationship in the 90s. You introduce a third party and just be like, jealous.
Yeah.
And they do the exact same thing again. Who do they do it with? They do it with the robot they find.
The robot man.
Yeah.
So
God.
episode 9, they introduce this new character who they find him in this what appears to be like a stasis container, and then they're like,
it looks like the
seems to have
thing. Looks like the things
he's this really
the
muscular
things that
gentleman they
Saiyans crash
find.
in.
They're like, oh, he must be like from the past, like from a stasis container, and they're like, why does he have no emotions? And then Hannah's all like, he has loads of emotions. Stop being so jealous, Jack. And he's clearly a robot.
Departure is like episode 11. Departure is actually what I really liked because it was the whole Hannah being like, I'm not appreciated here. I'm going back to Wassoon, even though it was like a massive pilgrimage to get here in the first place. But whatever, I'll just do that.
Not to mention that, as we mentioned, as in the first episode, all of her friends other than her died on the way.
That's never investigated. I love that.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. This is the thing.
And they just ignore it. It's pretty fucking dark.
I haven't read any of the comic book, but like apparently there's a lot of like random death in it, as you would like as mid 80s comics tend to do, being all gritty and whatnot.
It was picked up for a TV show, like capitalized on two things. I'd imagine they kind of wanted to recreate the success of both Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs. And with the adapting of this kind of like pulp comic, they wanted to recreate the success of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think probably more X-Men, to be honest. Because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has the like continuous comedy streak through it.
Yeah.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, like even the TV show, like they cut out all the continuous death. But I mean, they did have the X-Men as well. Like people don't die all the time. Like it's not very.
First episode of X-Men, someone dies.
No, but it's not like very gritty. If you know, like it's still definitely a cartoon. There's like an element of humor in it, and that's kind of like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Like there's some jokes in it, but the majority of it is like stop messing with the environment, or shit, run those dinosaurs.
Shit, run those dinosaurs.
But not in a cartoony way where they're like, oh, there's dinosaurs, you better run. It was like in a no, seriously. if we yeah. Except for like Hammer's two goons, whose response to everything is, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
No, but like everyone else is there. Their attitude is very much, we'll die if we stay here. Let's move on. It's very serious in the same way X-Men is for a kids TV show. Whereas like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is very much a joke most of the way through. Krang can't be taken seriously as a villain.
Yeah, I give you that, but like I think X-Men was definitely a safer bet than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or this was, because like X-Men was an established comic.
Oh yeah,
the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics were like weird and underground, and so was Xenozoic Tales.
Yeah, not.
That's another thing, actually. That's a little Easter egg in the show, that the license plate of
Jack's Cadillac.
Yeah, Jack's red Cadillac. He has multiple.
Yeah, he has many Cadillacs.
It is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Sorry. It would be ridiculous if he had one Cadillac. How ridiculous.
Cadillac and Dinosaur. One Cadillac stands in the way.
That would be more fucking accurate than one man. There are many people.
But the license plate on his Cadillac is an abbreviated version of Xenozoic Tales.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that when I noticed that.
That is quite good. That's quite good.
I also really liked the art style of the show, because like it gets a bit like Saturday morning cartoony, but then there's like shots where if you look at the comic cover and like some of the comic bits, it's lifted directly from the comic, the art style.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's
very close.
It's that 90s pulp comic thing where like there was no like shade, it was just white and then just straight into black blotches of shade kind of thing.
Yeah.
That make it really dramatic and high contrast kind of looking. It's really cool.
Which looks really cool, like dinosaurs, especially. Like the subject matter of the show actually really suits that art style.
To really boost the whole pulp, this kind of like bringing the whole pulp film type thing, was in action scenes and with the intro. They put black bars on the top of it to make it more cinematic. Yeah,
this is one thing I really like about the show. The changing of aspect ratio, like a cutscene.
Yeah.
For bits that you could consider like parts of action sequences, or I imagine bits before ads as well.
Yeah. The tension moments kind of thing.
Yeah, but like
that was like really cool.
They do it in a very good way. I really like that.
No, like this was a surprisingly decent show. Like compared to other things that were on at the time, it's kind of like unusual this got cancelled, considering this was like capitalizing on a lot of like shit that went right in the early 90s, including X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's very true. So, like, how long did the X-Men run for?
5 years.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess
pretty good for a cartoon. Like,
yeah, no, like I think the one thing that struck me while watching it was that, like, while it is episodic, in nature, in that, like, each episode is relatively standalone. You do need to understand the backstory for it to actually make sense, which I imagine is a thing that is traditionally very off-putting for like American networks, especially with stuff that's not supposed to get an audience. Like, it's not targeted at an audience which would necessarily watch things every week to week.
The recommendation, if you're going to watch this show, is watch the pilot and then any other episode.
Yeah,
because the pilot, while being like, as we said, lore heavy, massively confusing, shoves a lot of things at you at once. It is like crucial to understanding the rest of the show.
Yeah, and again, like,
because like
the intro we played at the start of this does, like, it relatively explains sort of what's going on, whereas that's only it. I think
nature has gone wild.
Yeah, but like it tells you roughly the year. It tells you like the main character's name. It tells you why there's dinosaurs as opposed to like Jack's a time traveler or something, which you could also glean.
Oh yeah,
this
could have been what's that Sky One show? It wasn't made by Sky One, but it was on Sky One. And I kind of like failed where they go back in time because Earth is fucked.
Oh yeah.
What was that called?
It had dinosaurs in the name.
But like this show could have been that.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Like, you wouldn't know from watching like any episode until they start talking about it, and then it might become more clear. But I mean, like, that intro is the intro on about, I think it's like 4 or 5 of the episodes out of the 13. So like, there's quite a number of episodes you could just watch and be like, I have no idea what's going on. This doesn't make any sense.
And it also could have been like a Lost World kind of scenario, or it could have been I know what's a good example. It could have been like a Star Wars kind of thing where it's just like, Earth is like this, deal with it.
Yeah,
like humans exist in this kind of reality.
No, exactly. Yeah,
and that's what I thought it was going for with the 2 moons thing at the beginning.
Yeah, 2 moons. What are they doing?
It's just like, long time ago, it's somewhere far away. Humans are miraculously here, kind of thing, and also dinosaurs. So I'm pretty happy that I watched this. Like, this was something I only vaguely remembered from my childhood.
No, I like, after watching a substantial amount of it, I'm very pro getting other people to watch this based on enjoyment value alone. It was actually really enjoyable.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm actually interested in trying to find the comics.
Yeah, this would actually, this would encourage me to look into this more. If you know, like, I would buy the collection of the comics if
the world is actually kind of interesting, even though there's this, like, in the 21st century, something happened. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the fact they don't explain how you get here, like, it is an interesting world, and it's just like, like I was saying, in the shots when you're in the city and the sea, I was like, this seems like a good setting for a video game. I'd be down with this kind of thing.
The role-playing game would actually be quite good. I was like, it's a very interesting setting. Actually. Like, it's a very like good take on a future world.
Yeah, absolutely. We should give that a go.
Yeah.
Video home
Skype
show livecast.
Gaming.
We'll just
Kieran, I rolled a 6.
Video home show. I rolled 20.
We should mention that we're not in the same country doing this show.
Oh yeah. We are good friends, and we've been friends for a very long time. But then you had to move away to postcode 0. 019.
I'll read out your phone number.
I have to eat some Pringles very loudly to mask all the details we're giving away. Yeah, so there is a C between us and all that kind of stuff. We're giving away all, like, far too much. We are ruining the mythos of video.
I mean, based on the success of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, we should really introduce a lot more lore in the first episode. I don't know if I brought this up, but Kieran is magic in numerous ways. Numerous ways.
Hugh is a centaur.
What kind of centaur?
The good kind. I don't know.
Oh, of course.
The only kind of centaur? The non-existent kind? Burn, maybe?
Whoa.
I'm not entirely sure.
Words.
I'm not entirely sure if that was an insult. So yeah, like, it's a pretty good first episode, and probably should have discussed this with you beforehand, but next week, if anyone who's out there who's watching and wants to take part of this, all, like, 6 of you, next week we'll be discussing a movie.
What movie, Kieran?
What movie? I know. Thank you for asking, Hugh. We will be discussing 1998 classic Small Soldiers.
Oh, yeah. I love Small Soldiers. You know what I love about Small Soldiers? It won't be like 13 episodes long. And a video game. A whole video game.
So when we started this idea for a podcast, the majority of things that we wanted to discuss were television series. So that kind of made it hard. So we had to put in some movies, and we're going to show you what a movie episode is like. And maybe that will be better, maybe it will be worse. Who knows? Let's find out.
Better? What do you mean better?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Kieran, stop underselling the first episode.
back to the VH Sequester, the part of the show where we talk about alternative names for the show and other things. Kieran, I believe you had an other thing to talk about.
I did. I do. I have a question to pose to you, Hugh.
A question? I love questions.
So, thought experiment, if you will.
Lay some truths on me.
So,
or in me.
Recently, I'm sure you've seen it. The Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer has come out.
I'm scared of that trailer. I'm scared of it.
With their freaky human lips.
Yes, that is actively the main problem. The lips is the main problem.
I actually found out they only did that so they could motion capture people talking rather than actually animating the lips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It's cheap. It's just cheap.
That reminds me of. Do you remember that? It was that movie with Tom Hanks was in it, the Polar Express, where.
Of course, it reminds you of Polar Express.
They really well motion captured everyone's faces, except you can't motion capture someone's eyes. You can't stick something on their eye. So you just had these crazy dead animation eyes with their really lifelike human faces. Tom Hanks' character looked really like his facial movement looked really good, but they had these crazy eyes that were just like looking dead into space, not properly with the face. The Tintin reboot was like that as well. It was really like awesome looking animation, except for the crazy eyes everybody had. They had crazy eyes. They had no souls.
Polar Express is like still the ultimate example. I was trying to explain Uncanny Valley to someone and I was just like, Polar Express. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, but my question is to you.
Go on.
After seeing this trailer, which television series from our childhood do you think would benefit from a Michael Bay remake? Explain your answer.
Gigantor. Because a few reasons, right? Okay. So, my problem with the Transformers movie was, and like the other also not good I did not like the Transformer movies Michael Bay did at all. And like part of the reason was like, the robots looked cool, but there were loads of like bits that you were like, that's not part of a car. Where the fuck does that go when the robot transforms into a car? I don't understand. Whereas like the original Transformers really did look like you could quite casually fold them into a car shape.
Yeah.
Whereas like Michael Bay's things were very complicated looking. Whereas Gigantor, he'd have to keep him like all smooth and sleek and aerodynamic. So Michael Bay couldn't go mad. So it could be like a Transformers movie with lots of explosions and stuff, but you could have like the guy from Transformers.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf as the young child in Gigantor who has control of a giant robot. But it's Shia LaBeouf. But his character.
I love how Shia LaBeouf.
But his character is still like.
Shia LaBeouf
10.
forever plays like young children.
Yeah. Even Stevens was like they were just like, he's just too good at it. We just have to keep him in that cast. Typecast for that. Typecast for Even Stevens.
Can we not do like Michael Bay's Even Stevens?
Michael Bay's Even Stevens. Oh, I replaced that. That is my new answer. Thank you, Kieran. That's so good. I just like the problems of pre-adolescence with explosions and really unnecessarily greasy women.
Yeah,
why was Megan Fox always covered in oil and sweat? I don't understand.
Megan Fox looks like a sticky leather couch.
But like the thing was, that would be fine if you kind of like, they're in a very tense situation, it's very hot or something. But Shia LaBeouf wasn't nearly as sweaty. Why does Megan Fox sweat so much? It's not a very attractive. It's not a very attractive quality in a woman.
Shia LaBeouf could have like that like Asian person gene where he doesn't actually like sweat that much and he doesn't need like deodorant.
That would be like a subplot that would need explaining. I think if you were to justify Michael Bay's choice of making Megan Fox constantly wet in a non we're just like shamelessly doing this because like this is supposed to appeal to like very young men.
Here's the thing also though, in Transformers 3 when they bring in the new woman because Megan Fox called like Michael Bay Hitler even though he has like Jewish heritage or whatever, but like she's made good on that and now she's in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Do you think Megan Fox would have been in the third? Do you think her being in the third Transformers would be pushing it?
No,
anyway?
I think that would have been like fine because they'd kind of shoehorn in this like whole the relationship fell apart kind of story.
Okay, that's depressing.
But yeah,
that'd be sad.
Yeah,
there was so much love between them, Kira.
They didn't make the. They didn't make the blonde girl like ridiculously sticky looking.
Yeah, see, like this is the thing. I don't know how that came about as a as a concept. Why can't she get a towel or something? She seems like a perfectly rational person otherwise. I just don't understand. You know who never knew that? Hannah from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. She was a strong independent woman, Kieran, and she knew what she wanted.
Yeah.
She wanted to be a diplomat and a scientist, and she didn't need no man, except for Jack, because Jack's awesome.
I want to give the cheap answer for like the Michael Bay remake of just like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
That would be good.
Because that would actually like work, and Megan Fox playing Hannah maybe makes sense because she has black hair and Hannah is tanned.
That's
as opposed to her playing April O'Neil, who is neither of those things.
Yes, that is very true.
But no, I think I could do better than that. Michael Bay's...
The thing is, I don't think Michael Bay's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs would be very good, because, as we've discussed, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is not really about explosions and Cadillacs and dinosaurs and like it's about the morals of environmentalism, and you know, it's really the sequel to 2012, where 2012 gets serious, as we discussed.
Fuck it, I want Sorkin. I want Sorkin.
Oh man, yes, that's what I want.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Sorkin's Cadillac and Dinosaur.
I had a conversation with someone recently, like, you know, The Newsroom, Sorkin's current show, where they were like, "Oh, it's not really good. It's just another West Wing." And my clear response to this was, "Is that not what you wanted? What else did you want? Did you not want the West Wing over and over again? That's what I want. Why would you replace it? Yeah, Cadillacs. Sorkin's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Be so good. I'd watch that. All the politics, less dinosaurs.
There'd just be dinosaurs in like establishing shots. It could be a TV series. I don't care.
It'd be like Dinotopia, where
the same cast,
where the dinosaurs are also political players in the political landscape.
Governor Scharnhorst said she doesn't like velociraptor meat. Oh no, that will offend all the fucking shivets in the 29th state.
Hermes grows up and like just becomes Beast from X-Men, where he has glasses and Kelsey Grammer can do the voice.
Oh my god, yes. And all the exact same cast as the West Wing and Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Oh yeah, that's what I want.
Dinosaurs.
Matthew Perry can come too. He can just join in. That'd be great.
No, Matthew Perry is Jack Tenorek.
No
reason explained.
No.
Oh no, I know who you're thinking of.
To be
I know.
Him. Who?
Oh my god, I keep forgetting his name.
Who?
Sam Seaborn.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe should be Jack Tenorek.
Yes. See, the thing is, Rob Lowe actually like looks quite in shape. He could be Jack Tenorek.
He could be Jack Tenorek.
Also, you know the comedy would work because he's been in Parks and Recreation. He has comedy, you know, but also a serious side, just like Jack. Jack knows a good joke. I think Michael Bay would ruin Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I think you're right about the thing you said after Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Not even Stevens. Sorkin. Even Stevens would also be great.
What would I go for? I think I would have to go for something like Michael Bay's take on... Oh no, okay. Biker Mice from Mars. That's stupid enough for me to let
I think that'd be a great Michael Bay thing.
Like, if it was up to me, we would never have given him Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we would have given him Biker Mice from Mars as a consolation prize.
You know, also would be great as a Michael Bay movie if they forced him to have a G rating, and he wasn't allowed like make a PG-13 or whatever Transformers ends up being. Is Thundercats? Yeah. So he'd have to include Snarf. And he couldn't write it out.
Because that's the ultimate curse.
Yeah, like, we're going to give you exactly what you wanted, Michael Bay. However, you see in the background, snarf.
It's just like, snarf. I was just like, we'll give you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but Krang has to have every sixth line dialogue.
And like half of Krang's lines have just be like, Krang!
I want more eccentric billionaires giving like these ridiculous briefs.
There just needs to be more of that, like, screw giving the artists, the ability to be creative. No, eccentric billionaires forcing them to do things.
Limitations are the ultimate form of creativity. I want to see Michael Bay make a good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where every sixth line has to be said by Krang.
Yeah, I'd watch that. Give the rhinos more lines. The rhinos had great lines.
What were the rhinos' lines like? I thought they were just like one-liners.
Yeah, I know.
One-liners.
They were great. One-liners.
One-liners.